Namaste, my name is Dhieyo and welcome to my channel. Today let's talk about the animals in our lives that we call our pets. Okay, let's see if there is more to it than just them being in our lives, for us to love them to love us, for us to look after them, for them to entertain us, for us to walk them, dress them in all those weird clothes, and after some time, in a few years, that's it, they're gone. Okay, let's also figure out the names that we choose for our pets. Okay, all of this, the animal in our life and the name that we give them, has a lot of meaning behind it. Okay, a lot of profound meaning behind it, and everything is orchestrated by the higher forces, by Shiva. Okay, and I'll tell you why, so that there is a little more appreciation towards the higher sources and towards the pet that is there in your life. If you've seen a lot of Hindu gods, you'll always see them with animals. Different animals. It could be a cow, it could be a bull, it could be a dog, it could be a rat, it could be an elephant, it could be a tiger, it could be a lion. Either they're sitting on it, or they're next to it, or they're wearing the skin of that animal on it. But there's something to do with an animal always around it, and that animal will never be on a leash. Okay, so the idea behind that is an artistic way of saying or of showing that these gods have incorporated in their personality certain good traits of these animals. Okay, at the same time, certain bad qualities of their animals also they've identified in themselves, and they've overcome it, or they've controlled it, or they've overthrown it, either of these. Okay, so for example, if you see Shiva sitting on a deer skin, or having a deer skin around him, that is a way of saying that Shiva has overcome the flickerness of mind. That is what a deer represents also, besides other things. He is very flicker minded. You see a deer in the wild, always looking here, there, everywhere, and then eating, and so Shiva has overcome that. Okay, if you've seen a god with a bird, okay, like a hawk or a kite, any of these birds that fly really high, is to show that their focus is like that bird. They focus towards their goal, whatever that goal could be. Their focus is like that bird. So if Shiva is wearing an elephant skin, that is to show that Shiva has conquered pride, because elephant also represents pride. And I'm so big, I'm so strong. He's conquered all of that. At the same time, he's incorporated the calmness of that elephant, the helpful nature of that elephant. He's conquered all of that. He's incorporated all the good and the bad qualities in that body of his, in that life of his. Okay, so this is why Shiva is called Pashupati. Now the word Pashu has two meanings to it. One meaning, Pashu, means animals. Okay, and Pati means somebody who's passionate towards it, can lead them, so they consider it as the lord of animals. Pashupati means lord of animals, the leader of animals. Okay, now the word Pashu, when you break it, it's called Pash or Pasha, okay, which means like a noose or a leash or a rope tied around that animal. So when that animal is with that rope, it's restricted. Okay, it's restricted to move around freely. This restriction is called illusion of Maya. Okay, so now when this animal is tied with that leash, it is restricted to experience anything that freedom has to offer, to go graze around wherever it needs to, go drink water from wherever it needs to, go travel wherever it needs to. So when these animals pray to Shiva, who's also the lord of freedom, besides destroying the illusion, Shiva releases them from this noose that's around them, from Pasha. Okay, so if you pray to Shiva, you get freedom. These animals get freedom. That is why he is called Pashupati, the leader of animals. Okay, but now what has happened over a period of time, scriptures have only limited this part of Shiva and animals to animals only. Okay, but there is lots more to it. All of us, every human being, every life form, but we'll stick to humans for now, has a noose around its neck in the form of some or the other form of limitation or restriction that we are facing. It could be in our physical, mental, or spiritual life. Okay, in whatever field, it could be in your career, it could be in your relationship, it could be in your health, in your addiction. There's something or the other that all of us are restricted to or going to be restricted to in the future. where Shiva sitting up there has a higher perspective of this. So this is the time where Shiva sends us an animal in our life in a form of a pet. That okay, now we're going to look after this pet, okay. But the reason behind it is much more larger, which the examples that I tell you is going to explain you a little much better that this is what it really means. The names that we give that animal. Okay, now this animals come into our life as a pet, whether you wanted it or you didn't want it, but somehow or the other now you have in your house, in your environment, a pet now. Whether you like it or you don't like it, whether it was your choice or it wasn't your choice, this animal is there now. Now you need to give it a name. Either somebody will give it a name, or you think of a name, a random name, and you give it a name. Okay, names like Wolf and Katana, names like Olive, name like Freedom, names like a king, or name like Shifu, the Kung Fu Panda Shifu. Okay, so let's understand the meaning behind that animal coming to your life and the names now. Now, because dogs and cats are usually what we're always surrounded with, this is not restricted to only dogs and cats. You can use it to any other pet that you have in your life. Okay. Now I'll give you an example. There's this couple who were staying together, and I know them very closely myself, and they were in a very long relationship for about 15 years, living together in a live-in relationship, not married, but seeing each other for the longest period of time. And they reached a stage where they wanted to separate from each other because their relationship was not moving any further. Both of them, even after staying together, could not see themselves getting married to each other. Okay, but they could not part ways. Every time they parted ways, they missed each other. They're like, oh my God, but the amount of affection he gives me and the amount of affection she gives me, I'm not going to get it from somebody else. And this is why they used to always get back together. And the relationship was toxic. There was affection, there was love, and there was everything, but there was toxic because they wanted something more. And both of them strangely could not see each other as their life partner. They could not see each other being married to each other, but they were still living each other. So it was quite a weird combination, and they wanted to break free from it. So this is what happened once, is in their locality where they were staying, there was a small kitten that entered a house, a locked house. The kitten climbed up somehow, entered the house, and was stuck over there for quite some time. And these two happened to rescue that kitten. Now there's nobody else who wanted that kitten, so they had no idea of any other pet in their life. They've never experienced having a pet. They decided, okay, we'll look after this kitten. Now this kitten was in their life. They obviously had to give it a name. They thought of all random names. Even I gave them some names. But eventually both of them said, okay, we freed this kitten, let's name it Freedom. Okay, so this kitten eventually started growing up, and Freedom, 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 the name Freedom kept going on and on and on. This kitten grew up to become a cat, and a cat who had no emotions at all. This was the coldest cat you will ever come across. Cats are as it is a little cold, but this cat was the mother of all cats in being a little cold, a little aloof. Okay, but what happened is, this cat over a period of time got freedom in their life. Something happened where their bond, their affection towards each other started becoming less. They started spending more time away from each other, not missing each other, not missing that affection anymore, because freedom was there. In some time, in like a few months time, both of them parted ways in a nice way. They started living separately. They didn't miss their affection anymore. So this is what happened because of that cat. The aloofness that they required for each other to move away was now seen and brought into their life as an experience through that cat, where they couldn't figure out, man, how can this cat be so aloof? We're doing so much. Every time we try to pet it, the cat just looks at them and walks away. We freed you, we've given you so much of love and give us some affection. The cat just wouldn't bother. And the name they gave the cat, Freedom, is what they were requiring from each other. They could have thought of any other Tom, Dick and Harry name, but the name that they thought was Freedom because that is what they required at that time. Okay, so the cat that came with its own personality, sent by the higher forces, that okay, you guys need to be aloof, you guys are there together only because you're missing affection. Here comes something in your life that is completely aloof. No matter what you do, this cat is not going to give you any affection. This cat came with that characteristic in it. and on top of that they gave the name Freedom, which they required. So together, Freedom and the character of that cat got these two freedom from each other. Okay, this is how it was orchestrated so beautifully and so nicely that once they were away from it, this cat one day, the window was open, went out, and it never came back. It did its job, what it was meant to do, exactly for that time, and it went off. Okay, today both of them are extremely happy in their own lives. They're in touch with each other, but none of that affection, none of that, okay, let's get back together, oh, I miss you, I will not get anybody. All of that was done. Here's one example of how a pet comes in our life, the name that we give it. Okay, something that was lacking in them, they gave that energy to that cat so that they could free themselves. Okay. The other example is this, is extremely close to me, and I wouldn't call him my cousin brother because I'm not a big fan of the word cousin. I call him my brother. So my brother, his wife and his two sons, for a very long time were planning to get a dog in their life, like a puppy in their life, but because he and his wife had experience with pets before and they're crazy animal lovers, they knew there's a lot of responsibility. Okay, especially now they've got two sons who are also growing up, young boys also growing up, they weren't sure whether they should get a dog. One day they decided, my brother decided, his name is Preet, he decided that okay, let's get that dog. So this dog came all the way from Bangalore to Hyderabad by train, and he landed on the month and the date was 1st. Okay, so on the 1st, this dog came in and they all together collectively, random names coming, and they decided, okay, let's call him Olive. Because his wife says his eyes were like olive and they like the food olive, they're always eating olive. So they said, okay, let's call him Olive, and everyone was happy with that name and that energy that dog brought in their lives. So first that dog came in, 1st, 2nd, all of them like a family with the dog were there. On the 3rd, extremely tragically, my brother passed away in a car accident. Okay, he was no more. So now Olive was there in their life. This guy is not there anymore. His wife is alone with the kids now in their life. Now if Olive, that dog and that name Olive was not there, things would have been completely different. But here is what the magic happened. Here is where Shiva orchestrated certain things. Okay, this dog came with his own character. They gave him the name Olive. Now Olive, the spiritual meaning of Olive is richness, strength, victory, healing, reconciliation, okay, and the biggest of all, peace. Everything what Preet, my brother, okay, represented, okay, was now, that energy was given in that form of that name Olive to that dog now. Okay, when you say rich, that doesn't only mean money. Yeah, he was rich with money, he had the most amazing job, he was a commercial airline pilot, but he was rich in his nature, in his heart, in his smile, in his laughter. He was like, you don't have to be a professional healer to go heal somebody. His presence could heal anybody. Okay, his aura, his laughter, his smile, his sense of humor could heal anybody that was around him. Okay, he was a peaceful guy, he was a loving guy, he was the most amazing husband, he was the most amazing father, he was like a friend to them. Everything that the word Olive now means, now was given to that dog 2 days before he was going to pass away. Okay, so now something so devastated, obviously the family is devastated, the children are really small, they are upset about it, but now they've got something as a healer in that form of that dog who's called now Olive in their lives now, which is helping them heal, which is helping them get over it, which is helping them divert their mind. But that spirit of their father, that energy, the characters of that father is now there in that dog as a support thing. So you think this was coincidence? No. It was perfectly orchestrated by Preet, soul, his soul, and Shiva. That okay, you're going to be going on, this is what you need to do for your family. So this is the importance of that dog and the name that they collectively sat together. They didn't go through all this profound thing that I'm talking about. They just said, okay, his eyes are like olive, we like eating olive, let's call him Olive. But that name was also given to them. That yeah, let's call him Olive. Okay, so this is how This dog came with his own characteristics. They gave him an energy which was soon going to be lacking from their lives. The richness of that personality that Preet had, the joy, the strength. Okay, olive is also a color of strength. That's why a lot of military use that color. Olive green is a color used by military. It's a color of strength. Okay, reconciliation. Okay, he's gone, but this dog is there now in their life to create that reconciliation for them. So this was the importance of a pet and the name that we give them in our lives. The last example that I'll give you is my own example. Okay, I was always as a child inclined towards spirituality, but when I started growing up in my teens, I got into certain addictions, and the addiction became much more empowering than my spirituality. So addiction was here and spirituality kept going down, but it was still there somehow. Okay, so at a time in my life, this dog came in my life as a pet. Okay, I didn't ask for it, but it somehow came, and now I was there in a house and we were living with it. And every time that I was supposed to leave my house to go fulfill my addiction, this dog would come, grab my leg from the back, and he was like 4 or 5 months old. He would grab my leg, grab my jeans, start jumping on me, everything trying to stop me from going out, and I would get irritated. I was not a big dog lover at that time. I was like, shoo him off, like, what is he doing? Is he got mad? What is this dog all up to? And it was just berserk. And the best part is, I named that dog Woof. When the time came to name that dog, I called him Woof, that yeah, he'll say his own name. That was my thought behind it at that time. He'll bark his own name. What's your name? Woof. So I found it a little funny, so I called him Woof. So Woof would always be holding on to me, grabbing on to me, trying to keep me away from going out. Okay, I reached a stage in my life where I needed help and I just couldn't ask for help. So I used to be sitting in my room thinking like, God, it's that time of that evening that I'm going to go out, and stop me from going out. This is the time when this dog, who was extremely naughty, was tied in the other room, and he kept looking towards me and he kept barking, He wanted freedom from that leash that he had, that Pash that he had. He had his leash on, I had my leash on from that addiction. He wanted freedom, I wanted freedom at that time, that God, I don't want to go out. Something happened when I went to that room. I took his leash off, I gave him that freedom. He jumped onto my bed and he came and played with me, he came and fought with me, and he's biting my hand and playing with me, and I started playing with him at that time. Okay. And strangely enough, time passed by. The time that I used to always leave my house to go get my fix, I never went out. Something had changed. I didn't need to go out. I didn't miss the habit that I was so addicted to now. So slowly what happened, Woof and I started making a bond where instead of me sleeping at 6 o'clock in the morning, I started sleeping early, because at 4 in the morning I used to take him to the park, make him run around. The more freedom I gave him, there's no more leash for him. There's not even a collar in the house. I said, no, I can't see that collar. Take it out from him. So the more freedom I gave him, the more freedom I was getting from my own addiction. Okay, I started walking him thrice a day, 4 times a day. Nobody else would do that. I said, no, I want to go walk him. No dog walkers, nothing. So the more freedom I gave him, the more freedom I got from my own addiction. Okay, and soon enough, in like a year's time of him coming in my life, I was completely clean, done. I never looked back, even till date. I've never looked back to any of my addictions. Then came a dog in our lives. Again, she was a female dog, and I named her Katana. Katana means sharp. It's that katana sword, the sharpest sword the planet has ever seen. So I named her after that sword, Katana. Now here is what happened with the name Woof and Katana that I gave them. So when I quit my addiction, my spirituality, my knowledge started growing again. Okay, but the only thing that was happening was I would only speak to a few friends of mine about it, share with a few friends, and you say, you need to tell more people about this. You need to share this knowledge, make use of this, give it to other people, it will come of use to them. And I would only say, yeah, probably sometime and all. Okay. In time, when Katana passed away, and few years back when Woof passed away, the strength that Woof had, the character that Woof had, no matter his name was Woof, he would only bark when he was meant to bark. Katana is a name which is sharp. I got both their qualities in me to bark my truth with authority. I would speak my truth and it wasn't reaching anywhere. I started barking my truth. I came on YouTube and started saying, okay, this is what spirituality really means. If I would be speaking it, nobody would hear it. Certain things which are so powerful and completely against what society thinks, you need to bark that through with that authority which that dog had. He would never bark unnecessarily. He would only bark when he had to. Okay, so this is the quality of the name that I gave them, which I required at that time. I required that voice. I required that strength to speak my truth, my true passion, my true calling. Okay, which I gave him, and I gave the other dog the name. So the words, the sharpness of the word and the sharpness of that word collectively is what I'm doing now on my channel, by speaking the truth on spirituality, which has been missed out over a period of time for whatever reason. So this is how it got orchestrated for me in my life. The dog has its own character. This female dog had her own character. I gave them the name which was lacking in my life. The voice was lacking, the strength was lacking, the surety was lacking, the confidence was lacking to talk about it. That came from him, and the sharpness came from her. Okay, which was all done by Shiva again. You know, so this is the importance of the animals in our life. There's this young girl, okay, whose father is like, his father's name is Raj, okay, and I've taken his permission to speak about this. His name is Raj. Raj means a king. This guy was actually like a king. He had a lot of inheritance, a lot of money, a lot of fancy things. Now there are two types of king. One king is a responsible king. The other one is an irresponsible king. This guy was an irresponsible king. Okay, because he got everything, he took life extremely lightly, and he started drinking a lot. He quit his regular job, sit in the house. He started becoming out of shape. He wouldn't even look at himself in the mirror, saying that, what have I become? And got more depressed, and he used to keep drinking alcohol. His wife used to tell him, okay, go do something, go back to your job, or do something or the other. Now this little girl started asking for a dog. Okay, so after saying a big no, he himself, okay, went and got her a dog. That, here, you wanted a dog, I've got you a dog now. So she named the dog after a king, a very famous Indian king. Okay, I cannot take his name right now because I'll fall into a lot of trouble for it. But she named him after this very famous king. Okay, now this king that she named the dog after was extremely powerful, extremely responsible, extremely loved, extremely good looking, extremely smart. He was like a perfect king. So now everything that she did not see her father as, she wanted to see it in that dog, and that's exactly how that dog became. But this guy would ill-treat that dog. He would go kick that dog, misbehave with that dog, abuse that dog. This dog does nothing. He's just sitting in the house. Those dogs came, he didn't even go bark. So everything that people were telling him and his own thought process of who he has become, now he started seeing it in that dog as a reflection. So I had to make him understand. I said, look, this is what's happening with you. You're hating that dog. You're not hating that dog. You're hating your own life, and you can see it over there. I said, you free that dog. You take that dog for a walk. You play with that dog, and you see the change. And it happened. He started playing with that dog. He started understanding that dog. He started walking that dog. He started looking after that dog, and he started looking after himself. He quit his alcohol. He started going back to his regular job. And that's when he told me, he said, now I know my daughter, when I asked her to name my bikes, she's got a collection of bikes and cars. She said she picked up a favorite bike and she named him Shifu, from the Kung Fu Panda character, Shifu. I said, yeah, that's because she was looking for somebody like a role model in her life, somebody to look up to. And this is when he realized that, okay, this is how I've gone wrong, and this is the importance of that dog that's come in my life. He's named Raja. She's named this dog after a very famous king. This guy is another form of a king who's like going down the hill. This dog over here, now he's treating him like shit, where he should have learned from him. And once he did, his life changed completely. Okay, so this is the value our pets, our animals bring in our life. Okay, now take this example and use it to your own life. If you've got pets, if you've had pets before, see the name that you've given them. Figure out other people, the names that they've given their animals and dogs. Certain people have called their animals after, their pets after animals that are living in the forest, deep in the forest. And you won't believe their lives have become that. They're living a completely secluded life. away from civilization. Even if they are living in a concrete jungle, they've cut their lives off completely from people. They are in their own world, not doing anything, not because they've named their pets after an animal that lives a secluded life. It's a way of saying that you need to get out from this. It's your own reflection over there. So Pashupati, Shiva, the Lord of animals, sends us these animals as pets. We give that energy of ours that is lacking in us in form of names. Okay, it could be Timmy, Fimmy, anything. Name the stupidest name you've given your dog. You Google the meaning behind it, the person that you've named the dog after, find out what that dog's name means, and you will see there's some characteristics or something that is missing in your life or is going to be missing in your life that now you've added over there for your support. This is the importance of pets and animals in our life. Okay, so I hope after watching this video, you will appreciate your pets a little more than just a source of entertainment, just a source of giving love, getting love, dressing them up. There's lots more to that animal. It's got a spirit in it, an extremely experienced spirit in it that has been sent to you by Shiva, by the Supreme, call him whatever, for your benefit. Okay, so treat them nicely, treat them respectfully, learn from them. Okay, it's for your own good. Okay, so yeah, the one that you see on the thumbnail is Woof, and I don't know if you can see this, that's Katana. Okay, so everything that I am sharing now is because of the blessings of Shiva, Woof and Katana that can reach to all of you. If you like this video and if you like your pets, give this video a like. If you've learned something about your pets, something new about them, subscribe to my channel. Until I see you again, keep loving your pets, keep loving animals, and have a good life. Namaste.